UFC Fight Pass presents Extra Rounds. Live from the Fight Pass studios in Southern California, it's Extra Rounds on UFC Fight Pass. Along with Ray Longo, here's your host, TJ DeSantis. Extra Rounds.
Yes, it is Extra Rounds here on UFC Fight Pass. I'm TJ DeSantis. He is Ray Longo. I got to press some buttons. We're getting ready for UFC 289. It goes down pretty much top of the hour. Your early prelim start. Amanda Nunes taking on Irene Aldana. As I mentioned, I am TJ DeSantis. Thank you for joining us. It's Extra Rounds. If you don't know what the show is, where have you been? It's got the great Ray Longo. He's kind enough to join me. As always, Ray. It's one of those weird shows where we do a preview show. We don't normally do a preview show. It's just generally a post show on the day of the event, but we're changing things up.
Let's change it up, TJ. Whatever you want, I'm here, baby. Let's go. Let's rock and roll, TJ. You got people entertained tonight.
Absolutely. And, it's always exciting when the greatest woman to ever do it takes the octagon, and she's back at it again. Amanda Nunes, has gone through ups and downs in her career. And, honestly, Ray, I thought that maybe the wheels were going to fall off when she lost to Juliana Pena. We've talked a lot about champions struggling with getting back to form after they lose their belt. That wasn't the case. Amanda Nunes came back, reclaimed her title against Juliana Pena. I thought we were going to get the rubber match tonight. We are not. It is Irene Aldana. And, personally, I'm excited for this fight. I know that a lot of people were expecting to see the score sort of settled, if you will. But I think Irene Aldana, adds a lot of, wrinkles to this bantamweight division. She's been someone who's been hanging around a title opportunity for a while, and now she gets it.
100%. And I think she comes in with the momentums of the Mexicans doing really good. They got a couple of champs now. I'm sure she's inspired by Alexa Grasso and her huge upset win over Valentina. So I think this is a great fight. And as much like you say, we want to see the rubber match, this fight to me is more intriguing. And I think the time is now for Aldana. She's not getting any younger. I think she's got the boxing to pull this off if her wrestling defense holds up. I think it's going to be a great fight. Really, really looking forward to this fight.
Yeah, and for Aldana, I think that a lot is going to depend upon her boxing. She's, a good floor tactician as well, but yes, you don't really want to hang out on the floor with Amanda Nunes, whether you're in top position or bottom position. And we've seen Aldana really do some great things on the feet. One thing that really stuck out to me as far as Amanda Nunes' loss to Juliana Pena is Pena sort of reversed the tide based on just a few jabs. She stuck that jab out in the face of Nunes and really turned the tide in a big way and ultimately won that fight. How instrumental do you think the jab will be for Irene Aldana if she's able to get her hand raised tonight?
Look, TJ, I think the jab is instrumental for everybody, not just for Aldana, you know what I mean? So I think anybody that can work behind a good jab is really always going to be in a good spot, especially when you have power in both hands, which I think Aldana does. I think she hits pretty hard. So does, Amanda Nunes. Again, I do believe the greatest female fighter to ever do it. I think she's proven that. You get I always question where people are at in their careers. She's got a family now. She's married. She left her team. It gets to a point where you don't have the same drive, I think. So that's going to be the question for me. Is like, you look at great champions, even in boxing, the consistency in which they were able to put together those training camps at the same intensity they did from the first time they defended the camp. That's the key. Can she do that? If she can, she's going to win the fight. But I have a feeling that, the momentum is on the side of Aldana, and I think she's got the tools that could make this a really bad fight for Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, she's definitely going to have to play the upset card, but I'm with you. When I look at what Amanda Nunes has done in her career, I mean, there's not a lot left to prove. So, I'm always curious about motivation for any athlete. I mean, I do think she's an athlete, though, that cares a lot about legacy. And obviously, you're only as good as your last fight, they say. And she wants to, keep that legacy intact. And a win over Irene Aldana would just add to her storybook career.
Look, man, I tell you, again, even as a coach, TJ, you can only keep going up for so long. Right. Eventually, it has to come down. And that's why I do admire the Khabibs of the world that they keep going up and then they got out.
Yeah.
There's never anything you could say. And that to me is a special talent. It takes a lot of, we'll say, chutzpah to do that. And I think Khabib did it. I think that's overlooked. I mean, it's not easy to get out when you're on top because you're enjoying everything. So I think it speaks volumes about where his mindset is and how important his family is and his word to his mother is. Really good stuff. So that's the thing. Can Amanda Nunes at this point, like you're right, she's a great champion just for the fact of coming back and beating the Venezuela vixen.
Pena.
Yeah, right. Juliana Pena. Crazy. That to me, that they always say it's the sign of a champion. When you lose and you can come back and beat the person. So as a barometer, she's already there. I don't know what else she has to prove. Going to be a tough fight.
Yeah, I'm curious though, because you talk about the momentum of Irene Aldana. She, has done well for herself in the last couple of fights. She's got some wins by stoppages. I'm curious though what it has to look like, because she needs to be pretty much flawless and perfect if she's going to win. Is it on the feet? Is it making this fight a war? Is it trying to drag the champion maybe to deeper waters? Like, what does an Irene Aldana victory look like, Ray?
To me, I believe it's on the feet, and she's just going to be like a half a step ahead of with the hands and the power in the hands. But like again, I don't really like even going against Amanda Nunes because I think she hits like a freight train too. I just like again, my point is right now I'm questioning motivation and desire, and that's kind of where I'm at. Nothing more than that. I think Aldana definitely has the skill set on on both avenues. You could see even when Nunes fought Gerandame, she didn't want to be there standing up. And, Gerandame had no ground game. I don't think this kid hits like Gerandame, but I think she'll be able to get off enough to where it might force the wrestling and that might force a mistake.
Do you think it's possible for Irene Aldana to outpoint Amanda Nunes, or does she need to get a stoppage here?
That's a really good question. I'm going to say she needs a stoppage. I don't think she wins by points.
Yeah, I'm with you. Because even if Amanda fades down the stretch, I think, if Amanda's firing on all cylinders, you're likely going to see her get out in front early. And
yes,
you don't want to get too far behind the eight ball, if you will.
Yeah, and TJ, she's got the power to get your respect, to stifle you a little bit to get what she wants. So yes, I really am excited for this fight. I think it's a great matchup, and it's more intriguing to me than even Juliana's fight.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll see that score settle down the road. But tonight it's Irene Aldana. Let's take a look at the odds, courtesy of our friends over at DraftKings. Minus 320 is the favorite. Amanda Nunes, the comeback and the underdog Irene Aldana plus 265. It's kind of amazing to see anyone not be a 4-1 underdog at this point against Amanda Nunes. At 2.5, 2 3/4 to 1 odds on Aldana. I believe that's it's not a cosign by the odds makers that she's going to win this fight, but I think it's a pretty good affirmation that people think it's going to be competitive at least.
Yeah, and again, I think that's what makes it intriguing to me is the odds. I mean, if you really want to take a risk, I think this wouldn't be a bad place to take a risk. That's all I'm saying. If it was even money, I'd probably go with Amanda, even though it has nothing to do with like who's going to win. I just think those odds just make me believe, wow, that's pretty enticing.
Yeah, and if you want to take advantage of those odds, you can do so over at DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings Sportsbook is the official sports betting partner of the UFC. New customers can bet just $5 and win $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the app, use the code FIGHTPASS, and get in on the action today. Let's take a look at our co-main event. Charles Oliveira, it's rare to see him be an underdog to anybody, but he is an underdog to Beneil Darius. Looking at Oliveira, this guy's been in the UFC for so long.
Yes.
You got to pull up his bio here because I almost don't believe it, Ray. Like I see the debut date of September 15th, 2010, and man, that's over a decade ago. 13 years inside the UFC for DuBronx. He's got the most finishes in UFC history, and he's coming off a nice run that saw him capture UFC lightweight gold. Now, technically only defended it twice. He came up short to Islam Makhachev. I feel like the way that Oliveira lost to Makhachev is informing a lot of people's opinion and how he's going to do in this fight with Darius. Now, Charles Oliveira is a very dangerous guy on the feet, on the floor. It's very much pick your poison. But the fact that he was submitted by Makhachev, I think is making people sort of sell the stock, if you will, on Charles Oliveira. And I don't know if that's necessarily fair. What are your thoughts on the fact that, A, Oliveira is an underdog, and B, does it have anything to do with the fashion that he lost to Makhachev last time out?
Well, two things. I'm in shock that he is the underdog, but I'll give you a little bit of trivia. He actually fought on one of my shows at the Ring of Combat. That's how long this guy's been 100%. He beat the crap out of a local kid who was a tough kid, man. He decapitated him. And, I mean, so he doesn't – I don't think he has time on his side either. He's been around forever. You're saying debut in 2010, which means – he fought that Ring of Combat either 2008, 2009,
right?
Which
you're bordering on that. What is the modern era of mixed martial arts when you're talking about that timeline?
You're not kidding, man.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Cerro won the title in 2007. It wasn't long after that he won. So we're in a different era.
Yeah.
So he's been through his ups and downs. So you're saying is the Islam fight a factor in why he's an underdog?
The fact that he was submitted in the Makhachev fight, I think some people are sort of taking away that maybe Oliveira isn't what he once was. I think he got hurt on the feet and then got squeezed out by a really strong guy.
Without a doubt. I'm agreeing with you on that. And I think they're going more towards that. In his last 3 or 4 fights, he has been hurt, but has been able to come back. And in that fight, he couldn't. I think they feel maybe that Beneil does have the jiu-jitsu also, where he could get him out if he hurt him. To me, that's why I'm going to pick Darius in this fight. Is that if he gets him in trouble, I think he'll be smarter than like Chandler and Gaethje. I think he's got a different skill set that'll play into that scenario way better.
Beneil Darius is a guy who's been in the UFC for a long time as well. He's no spring chicken either. We'll take a look at his bio debut back in January of 2014. One thing I think it is interesting, though, about this fight is their styles. And, what they say, styles make fights. Oliveira has a very high finishing rate, above 90%.
Yeah.
Darius, lower, mid-range, 59%. Do you feel like Darius is going to have to slow down this fight? Is this going to be a fight where he's going to have to sort of catch the former champion and make him fight his style? Or can he kind of have that aggressive output and sort of go tit for tat with DuBronx?
No, I think he's going to go tit for tat, and they're both probably going to get hurt. I think the difference is what happens after they're hurt, and I think Beneil's going to do a better job at that because he's going to have to go forward and get what he wants, and that's not going to be easy. But I do think that he's a very intelligent fighter. He's waited long enough. He knows he's not getting a second chance, whereas the other guy's been there, done that. Again, I just never know when that time hits, when they're just not the same guy they were the fight before.
Yeah, it's not fair to talk about Beneil Darius's low finishing rate and then watch this fight with him and James Vick, because my goodness, if I don't care what the numbers say, you can't get hit by that left hand from Beneil Darius. And
definitely not.
Yeah. What does this fight look like, do you think? Do you think it's something where Oliveira is aggressive early and then there's adjustments that need to be made, or what are your thoughts?
Well, I definitely think it plays out on the feet regardless. But if I see, I don't know, man. If I see anybody mixing the takedowns, I think it might be Darius. I think he might want to test the jiu-jitsu. He not fancies himself. He is a great jiu-jitsu practitioner. So is Oliveira. So I don't know. I think it's going to play out on his feet. I think they both know that might be their best shot. And it could be, firstest with the mostest is the bestest. Whoever gets there first and hurts the other guy is the winner. So I think a very technical fight. I think there's going to be a good feeling out portion in the first round, and then it's really going to heat up.
Firstest, mostest, bestest. We need to get that on a T-shirt, right?
100%. No, but that's why I say I think it's one of those, like, whoever hurts the other guy first, I think, is the winner. And that hasn't been the case with Chandler and Gaethje. They got hurt. They hurt him first, and then he was able to come back. I just can't see him they're just three different fighters, those three guys, and I think Darius will have a better game plan if he gets him hurt.
Yeah, it's not often where an athlete's been in the UFC for 9 years and they're still sort of on the rise, and that is the case for Beneil Darius. Again, his UFC debut came back in January of 2014. But I'm looking at his age and his resume, and he's riding this 8-fight win streak, but he is 34 years old, and I'm curious, is the time now? Is it now or never? Would you buy that?
Now or never. Yeah, it's now or never. I'm buying that. Now or never.
This is the hardest division to actually get a foothold in as well. I mean,
without it, 100%. There's guys behind Oliveira that would make way worse fights for Beneil, and vice versa. That division is crazy. When Frivola beat Drew Dober, I told Billy Q, I go, pull up the top 10.
Right.
Dude, I looked at the top 10, I go, holy shit, man, there's not a weak link in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If there was a weak link, I thought it was Moicano, who was probably number 10.
Right.
And he's not an easy out either. You know what I mean? So that probably got the first 15 guys are pretty freaking good, man. It was impressive when I looked at that top 15.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like on any given night, any lightweight could beat a top 5 guy, and that's not
100%.
That says something. Like for a long time, I believe that the lightweight division is probably the most talented division in MMA. I still sort of side with that. I still think that the baddest man on the planet more often than not weighs 155 pounds. And look at the champion, Makhachev. I mean, phenomenal fighter. He got past Oliveira. If Oliveira gets this win coming up tonight, is he right back in the mix, Ray? Like, can he atone for that loss?
Yeah, 100%. But I'll tell you, don't forget even what's his name? Is it Topuria?
Yeah.
But dude, his fight with Makhachev in Russia was unreal. Yeah. I mean, it was a wrestling bonanza. I mean, if you're into scrambles and good, that fight was great, man. And that's why I say there's a lot of killers in that 55 that. I wouldn't again, I think Islam should have to clean out that division before he thinks of anything. And that's why, again, I don't know how we're getting off on this, but you got to give Volkanovski the world of credit, man. That fight was, that's incredible. He's a 45er coming up, and that fight, I don't know, man. It says volumes about Volkanovski too. But yeah, getting back to Oliveira, he wins this fight, he's back in the mix for sure.
Yeah, I hate to kind of go off the path with you again, but Volkanovski, yes, he lost that fight. Some people believe he won that fight, yeah. but the moral victory there was huge. I mean,
huge.
He didn't lose anything.
Well, if you're talking moral victories, there was a clear winner and a clear loser,
right?
In my opinion.
Yeah. What would Oliveira have to do tonight against Darius to make you feel like he has a chance to beat Makhachev in a rematch?
He's got to do what he most likely would do if he wins. He's got to stop him.
Yeah. I mean, he's the guy to do it. He's got a 91% finishing rate.
Yep. He's the guy to do it. So
I got to pull the bio up again because it feels like it's a misprint. 91% finishing rate. This is what was also interesting to me. Only 9 knockouts to 21 submissions. Don't let that fool you. He's a phenomenal kickboxer.
Very good kickboxer. Very good. Matter of fact, not again, I'm going back to the Ring of Combat. The vicious kicker. Vicious at that time. And then you get injuries, your knees hurt, you try to play it safe a little bit or work around it. And luckily for him, he's got a couple of different ways to win, and he went with the submissions. His submissions are off the hook. We'll see. I mean, he did struggle with Frankie Edgar. Frankie was taking him down. I don't think he was close to submission in that fight. And I think those are the fights that, Darius, you'll look at. He's got the wrestling. He's got the jiu-jitsu.
Right.
If you look at even what happened with Gaethje, he hurt him first, and he jumped on him. You can't let that happen. And some of those finishes have been, after he hurts you, he's all over you. So
this is a 3-rounder, isn't it? It's a co-main, no title, so it should be 5.
100% should be a 5-rounder.
Yeah,
it should be a title eliminator, period, and that's it.
I mean, I just hope after 15 minutes we're not having more questions than we had before the fight, if you will, if the tide starts to turn.
Highly possible.
Yeah.
Highly possible.
Yeah, man, another thing that's sort of crazy, too, I think about this. Oliveira was a guy who flirted with both, 45 and 55. He didn't want to fight up at 55. He had trouble with the weight at featherweight. We almost never really got this run from Oliveira. If he had his way, I think he would have stayed down at 45.
Right. And he was doing great at 45. But, you never know what happens. Some things just happen to click at the right time, and he's had a great look. It's all like even timing. Maybe even the opponents and who he got to fight at 55 were more to his advantage than what he even had at 45. Who the hell knows?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you never know. So let's take a look at the odds one more time. Charles Oliveira, the slight dog to Beneil Darius, 145 is the favorite. Darius, the Brazilian, plus 125. Mike Malott, the Canadian, fighting north of the border, minus 205. The comeback on the underdog, Adam Fugit, is plus 175. Dan, 50K Ige, favorite, minus 260. I always worry, Ray, when you incorporate a nickname like 50K into like you're always like saying you're in competition for the bonus. Like you're setting a high standard of output for yourself when you're Dan Ige.
Well, I think they Jedi mind fucking Sean Shelby. Right? Just anything he does, it's like 50K. Who just won 50K? And then all of a sudden you're writing a check for 50K. It's like a weird phenomenon that happens. But that's gonna be an exciting, funny fight because that other guy is legitimately must-watch TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's nuts, that guy.
It's all starting here in about 20 minutes as well.
Yeah. Very excited.
Fight Pass prelims go live at the top of the hour. I actually got to go get something to eat, Ray. Your guy, Dennis Bazooka, got me up early today doing an interview at 7 a.m. Pacific time. I've been dragging ass all day ever since.
Bazooka. Let me tell you, who wasn't dragging ass? Bazooka, because he was in the gym today and he looked absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, he's got a fight coming up. Is it next Friday night at CFFC?
Next Friday night, CFFC. We got Charlie Campbell, Damian Nelson, and Dennis Bazooka.
Nice. Well, look for the interview with Dennis coming up later next week. But I'll talk to you later as well, by the way, because we're just getting this day started, Ray.
That's it, man. This is what we do, TJ.
Yeah, we'll take a nap because it's going to be a late one.
Because I tell you, by the time you get to me later, I might be snoring during the pod. But I'm coming in guns blazing later. Come on.
I hear you, Ray. I appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.
Awesome, buddy. You're the best. I'll see you in a little bit.
All right, see you, Ray. Ray Longo, kind enough to join me on Extra Rounds. Again, we will be back coming up a little bit later on, immediately following UFC 289. We're not quite done yet. A couple things to do, some house cleaning, some exciting business to tell you about the UFC Fight Pass Invitational as we get closer to that, so stick around. This is Extra Rounds from UFC Fight Pass.
What's up, everybody? The UFC Fight Pass Invitational is back. You can stream it live on UFC Fight Pass on June 29th. The main event is between two of the best jiu-jitsu artists in the world, Felipe Pena versus Craig Jones. Plus, the co-main event, former UFC champion Glover Teixeira takes on Anthony Smith. And now, the entire main card is set with two more big-time matchups to announce. Nick Miragali versus Cyborg Abreu. And Penn State wrestling phenom and two-time NCAA champion Roman Bravo Young makes his grappling debut against the number 6 UFC flyweight Alex Perez. And last but not least, we just finalized the absolute tournament bracket, including Nicky Rod, Big Dan Manitou, and many more. The winner of the tournament will take home a $30,000 grand prize. The best grapplers in the world are at the Fight Pass Invitational live Thursday, June 29th at 9 Eastern, only on Fight Pass. You do not want to miss this. Sign up today.
The UFC Fight Pass Invitational is going to be must-see TV, and you better be signed up right now. The subscription's up to date, right? You're going to need it in about 19 minutes for your Fight Pass prelims as well. Also, you can catch the encore of Hollywood Fight Nights that took place last night. Dana White's obsession, if you will, in the boxing world. Callum Walsh was back in action. He hunts for win number 7, as well as a WBC U.S. Silver title. Did he win? Happened last night. I was on the call. If you don't know, go watch it. We got time. Like 18 minutes. Plenty of time to watch Callum Walsh's fight last night with Carson Jones. So check that out. It is available right now on UFC Fight Pass. Extra rounds coming back with Ray Longo and myself immediately following UFC 289. So hopefully you will join us there. And I'm going to try to open up the phone lines tonight. I miss doing that. So keep it locked. You can also text us in the meantime. 917 UFC Talk. That is 917-832-8255. You can also get at us on Twitter. I'm at TJ DeSantis. He's at Ray Longo MMA. At UFC Fight Pass. Hashtag extra rounds. All right. That's it. For Ray Longo, I'm TJ DeSantis. We'll see you a little bit later for more extra rounds from UFC Fight Pass. Enjoy the fights.